here's some news. So MrBeast hit 200 million subscribers.
If you had told me last week that he was already at 300 million, I would have believed you.
Here's what I want to talk about, though. What I love about this, and it kind of gives me a little bit of hope, in a way. Like, okay. I enjoy the content for the most part. I don't watch as much of it these days, but I like it because it really does feel, in a lot of ways, like an escape. Like, in a world where the ability to go viral seems to be dependent on your ability to either piss off either gender or say something really, really crazy politically, the idea that you can be very, very successful just by creating fun videos. Like, the best way that I describe MrBeast videos, it's like an adult playing with toys. And I love that. He's like an adult playing with action figures. He's like, I wanted to throw a roller coaster off of a track and into a building. That's to me, there's something wholesome about that, in a way. Mm-hmm. And we talk about MrBeast from time to time, usually in regards to the fact that anytime he does any of his charity work, which is an entirely separate channel, he gets dunked on by people because it's don't just do it this way, do it the way we tell you to do it.
Right.
But the audience speaks for itself. People don't just want to watch insane political content or manosphere content or feminist content. People want to be entertained. And I think that that's a fairly decent thing to promote. And he seems to be as close as you're going to get to like a modern day philanthropist that people can get behind.
Right. And when David Dobrik would give people money or give people gifts, there was always a string attached. Like, you know, you're here for exposure and I'm going to give you a Tesla. But MrBeast just seems like more of a wholesome guy.
I watched one that like a YouTube short the other day. He's like, I'm gonna order 2 pizzas and whoever gets it here first gets a car. And he calls like Domino's and Pizza Hut, and the it's like this race to the finish line where he's like trying to order the pizzas at the same time, and Domino's can't seem to even get he can't even like get the order done properly. But then the Domino's guy beats him there, and he gives him a car. Like,
but then you gotta feel bad for the Pizza Hut delivery guy, right? And you're like, oh, I'll give you a sympathy car. It's fine.
I do like the idea that he gives like his old car to the Pizza Hut or to the Pizza Hut guy.
A golf cart maybe.
But the reason why I say this about the content, guys, is and you said at first, you said maybe not all of them are legit subscribers. I do think that the view counts on his videos bear out them being real subscribers. If you look here, his video yesterday hit 77 million views already. Mm-hmm. And I think they said that was the fastest non-music video to reach a certain number of views in a day.
And you sent me the top channels on YouTube. Most of them are owned by companies other than MrBeast and PewDiePie.
Yeah, so if you look here, T-Series, I remember MrBeast and T-Series being in competition before. That was a big deal. But Cocomelon, obviously a company. Sony Entertainment, obviously. I'm surprised Marvel's not ahead of Sony, but I guess that kind of makes sense. I don't even know what Kids Diana show is. Do you know what that is?
That and Cocomelon are probably just, the toxic brain sludge that's ruining Gen Alpha.
Yeah, but it's inoffensive toxic brain sludge that's ruining Gen Alpha.
That's, isn't that kind of the problem?
How would you fix it?
I think MrBeast is one of the only independent creators keeping YouTube alive. And it's kind of ironic for me to say this because we're on YouTube right now, but I feel like YouTube is dying a little bit. And a lot of YouTubers have seen that long form content just isn't getting clicks anymore. And
do you think that's because attention spans are just lowering?
It's because TikTok usurped YouTube, and also in the middle of the pandemic, streaming platforms started popping up out of nowhere, and people went to those streaming services or they went to TikTok, and they haven't really come back to YouTube videos where you could make a video of you going to Walmart and it gets 30 million views. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel like MrBeast is one of the only independent people keeping this platform going. And YouTube treats its creators a little bit better than other platforms do. Like TikTok is so censorious.
And no money to be made.
Instagram is the same. And there's no ad revenue to be made on those platforms.
There was a time when you could actually when there was actual revenue sharing on Instagram.
Yeah, but then they realized that people were making too much money and they stopped it.
It was like 4 months they did it.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
I mean, I think you can still, but it's nothing compared to YouTube.
No, they still do like the like people can donate. Basically, all of these companies just set up ways in which companies, like us with super chats, right? Like you can donate to people like through specific videos. Like, did you like this video? You can give someone a tip on that video. And YouTube is like the black market dealer on the side taking 10%, or in this case 30% all the time. I don't know how much Instagram takes from that stuff, but MrBeast we recently talked about, he did like an interview where he said like, he's like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. Remember that? He's like, he looked really sad. There's like this, he's like, it's a lot of work. He's like, I work 18, 20 hours a day. I'm always working. He says we hit 200 million subscribers. If you travel back in time and showed this screenshot to me when I was 13, there is zero shot he'd believe it's real. How old is he now? He's like 20, in his mid 20s.
He's only like 26 or something, 26? Right?
Like he's saying now that he's got years left in the tank.
He's 25, and in that interview, he's like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. He could retire forever if he wanted to.
Yeah, he doesn't need to keep working if he doesn't.
I don't think he should.
But I think that there's something to be said about needing a space, needing those top creators to not always have to be political.
Not be political, and also not be owned by a corporation.
Yeah. Like some of the other ones on that list are not, like Vlad and Nikki, which I do not watch. Like PewDiePie is obviously number 6, not owned by, but he's still on a break, right? He's still on a break.
Well, I mean, ever since he became a parent, it's harder to focus on making content. He doesn't really need to. He's like semi-hiatus.
Like, I don't even know how much you can count like a musician being in their own channel. It's still a corporation in a way, right? Because the revenue's split between you and the record label. So it's not even quite the same thing. But I want to see more stuff like this because MrBeast is kind of in that middle age range, right? Like Coco Melon's for young kids. Adults and kids, like depending on what they like, can watch a MrBeast video and get to it. And if we want people to be able to search on YouTube and not have to worry about their kids always finding crazy stuff, there's worse people that you could let your kids be watching.
Unless they're being exposed to someone like Chris Tyson, who was on the MrBeast channel. Yeah. Then you have something to worry about.
To be fair, none of the content that I've seen with like, it doesn't seem like they seem to highlight it at any point in it. Yeah. You'd have to go deeper into
They would be stupid to try to do that.
Yeah.
But I still remember asking my younger cousins if they knew who MrBeast was, and they were like, yeah. And then my aunt and uncle were like, we've never heard of that in our lives.
Does that kind of freak you out? Like, as somebody who like anybody who wants to be a parent one day, you have to worry about like what are the kids liking this week? And one day you're like, what is a MrBeast? It's like anytime we talk about Julia Fox here, they say, what's a Julia Fox?
Do you watch MrBeast videos?
Not often. I tend to, you know what, I like his shorts more, which are like shorter form content with some of the same stuff. But it's not really, I'm not really the target demographic for it. But I like that it exists because it means that you don't, it's kind of like proof in the pudding that you don't have to be super controversial to necessarily be successful. And that there is a market for widely accepted universal content that doesn't pander to one demographic.
Yeah.
Unless that demographic is just people that like interesting videos and interesting concepts.
The other independent creators that are doing well right now are the Twitch streamers. Yeah. Not the YouTubers.
Yeah. Like I had never heard
most of the Twitch streamers are wreaking havoc on society.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, right? Like he's doing this in like private settings.
At least MrBeast has a net positive effect on the world.
He's not going around and saying, what's your body count to a bunch of strangers. That's good. We need more of that. Now, granted, for him, like there's a lot of like production value behind it. Like there's a lot of money invested in a lot of these projects. But he also has his philanthropy channel, and he's got the gaming channel. He's got all sorts of content, and he's proved that it works as a business model. But it's just I want to see more of it in the vein of getting away from the political nature of highly successful channels, right? Like you don't need to necessarily be controversial. And I think that your kids will be happier for it if they don't have to be just inundated with endless controversial political content, feminist content, manosphere type red pill content. It doesn't all have to be that. Shows you how big the world is. I think.
Yeah, protect them from the alt-right pipeline on YouTube.
Exactly. How many rungs down the ladder is MrBeast from the alt-right pipeline? Where does MrBeast? Who does MrBeast send you to next?
Depends who you ask.
Like who wouldn't like? Oh, you looked at MrBeast and then you like in your recommends comes a video talking about Chris Tyson and his transition. Oh no! You watch that video and then it sends you to a Paul Joseph Watson video. Oh no! And then you end up somewhere else and then you're somewhere you never needed to be.
It's so weird how MrBeast like recounted the story of when he lived with Chris Tyson, like they were friends, and he walked in on him cross-dressing and was like, "We can talk if you want to talk." And then he was like, "No," and then he just walked out of the room, and they never spoke of it again.
I mean, that's
like true bros would.
If I'm being completely honest, if that happened to me, like if I walked in on somebody who was like, it'd probably be the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, so, going on?
I just don't think he needed to comment on that situation at all.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that reminds me of the time I walked in on him. And
he didn't need to comment support. He didn't need to say like, oh, Chris is the happiest I've ever seen him in my life. Like, you don't need to affirm. Like, that's what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And your channel and your persona is supposed to be apolitical and have mass appeal. And it's for younger people, like a lot of young kids. I didn't think that was cool of him.
At least
to get involved in that.
At least he's not running around doing pranks on people who aren't already involved in the thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No street interviews and no pranks.
Yeah. Count your blessings, I guess.
Exactly. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.